Okay, so today what I am going to share, and I have no idea if this is going to be interesting to people or boring. We're just going to roll with it. And it was actually inspired. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a behind the scenes of what my day was like today, right? I just picked a random day. Frankly, it could be pretty much any day in terms of what I do as a real estate developer. And what the reason why I'm doing this is not because I think it's special or in fact I think it's actually going to be probably a little boring for people. However, I think that it's probably a good idea just to understand what's behind the curtain, right? Like, what does a person actually do if you are a developer, right? And I was listening to actually on the way home from some of my tours that I had at some of my properties today, an interview with Kurt Warner and Ed Milet. And in it, I didn't know the backstory of Kurt Warner. I had no idea that he was like a Div 2 football player, that he never started until his last year, that he got cut from training camp and was actually stocking shelves as, like in a supermarket. And then he goes on to win the league MVP, I think twice, and then a Super Bowl. And here's why I think that that's interesting. I think what happens is, and Kurt talks about it, is that the reason that he was not starting early on in his career was because he wasn't showing up on in practice, right? In game day, he was probably more skilled and talented, but the coaches, they only see like a small snippet. Like for example, if I think in the NFL you play 16 games, and probably NCAA you're playing I think it's like 12 games or something along those lines. So there wasn't enough time for coaches to really be able to see what he was doing. And I think it's similar in real estate, right? If all I ever do is, and I think we're all kind of guilty of it, except for like guys like Gary Vaynerchuk, and that is we kind of pick and choose what it is that we show people in terms of what our day is as a developer. And it's very surface level. And so what I thought I would do is just give you kind of what my day. It's 3:15 on a Wednesday, so my day isn't over. But I'm going to share with you kind of what has happened since 5 a.m. when I woke up, and just give you some perspective. Right? Not all of it is fun. Not all of it is cool or sexy or whatever. But it is what it is. So between 5 and 6 a.m., I generally wake up, I stretch, I breathe, I drink some greens, I do my burpees and push ups, and I just kind of plan my day. And then between 6 and 7 today, what I did is I actually shared one new piece of content on my website. So usually 6 to 7 is when I do what I would consider to be um, what Stephen Covey calls not urgent but important, right? And so that is kind of time that I'm able to share content, to do something that is important. It could be working on a pitch deck. Today was writing a blog post. Um, Between 7 and 8:15, the meeting ran a little bit longer. We had a conference call with our lender and my two partners on my Chestermere development. Okay, and so that was very important because we were really trying to get an understanding of our debt and what that was going to look like as it relates to covenant, guarantees, general partners, all that kind of stuff. Then between 8:15 and 8:35, I usually don't check emails until 10 o'clock, but you'll see why that wasn't possible today. So between 8:15 and 8:35, I responded to and sent out emails basically to get a few people moving along, because I've got a couple of, we just found out that we have another project under contract. And so we had to set some consultants in motion. 8:35 to 9:40 today, I just did a workout. So I'm actually following a gentleman, Nick Bear, and Bare. I think he's got a supplement company called BPN. Uh, like friggin' just love what this guy is doing with respect to social media, his workouts. I think he's like 195 pounds and runs a sub 3 hour marathon. So he's super fit, and he just seems like a good dude. So I've been following him and following his new workouts as well as his nutrition plan. And so that has been very interesting. I'll share a little bit about that at the end of the day. Between 9:40 and 10, I just got ready for my meeting. between 10 and 10:45. So it was about a 45-minute drive to get all the way down into the southeast to meet with our brand new tenant. Okay. And so what was nice is my wife is actually the designer and she's helping with the space plan. So she's very busy and I had to explain to her how important this was to really make sure that we could make some time and go meet with the gentleman and his wife. So this is like literally me. Like I'm the person that's there, the developer. I didn't have to go there, right? I could have just had my wife go down, but it's important. And even though it's 1,200 square feet, it's an important lease and it's an important part of this business, which is relationships and making sure that people feel um, important. All right, that's probably maybe the easiest way to put it. So, anyways, that went very well. Really enjoyed the conversation. I met with I'm not going to use his name, but I met with him and his wife, and we're looking forward to having them in our latest retail development here in Calgary. After that, it was 12 to 12:30. I had another 30-minute drive. So you can see sometimes when you're all, and this is just in Calgary, like when I've projects in Fernie and places even further away like Chestermere and whatnot, I can be in the car most of the day. So that's one probably aspect that is just something that as a developer with multiple projects you have to expect. 12:30 to 2, I had lunch with my business partner and mentor, as well as another business partner, and we talked about our development in Fernie, and we talked about the project upcoming in Chestermere, just to discuss logistics and how things were going to look and the big picture. Okay. 2 to 2:30, I drove over to my Shag 5 development. I wanted to do a quick video because I'm documenting this for YouTube, and and this ties back to Nick Bear, kind of watching what he does, and I'm thinking, well, it's not going to be quite as fun and interesting, if you will, but I'm still going to essentially go there every week, every 2 weeks, whatever is going on at the property that I think is going to be interesting to a developer. I'm going to share that with you. So today they were pouring the foundations. I should say the footings, not the frost walls. And I just went in and introduced myself to the cribbers and the people that were doing all the work. And I think they were. I don't know what's going on here with my computer. Sorry. Uh, yeah. Anyways, they were just, I think, very appreciative of the fact that I came by and introduced myself and just ask questions. Like I don't try to pretend that I'm more knowledgeable than I'm not. Hey, are you guys covering it up tonight? What temperature does it need to be? And anyways, really had I thought I was going to be there for 5 minutes. I ended up being there for 25 minutes because I didn't want, the guys that are working hard to feel like I was rushing them. So got back home just after 2:30. My wife asked me to clean up the backyard. We have a puppy, you know what that means. And then between 3 and 3:15, I prepared for this conversation. Even though while I was driving today, I was thinking, what can I share with my audience, with you? And frankly, I wasn't sure. I there is another uh, there is something I'm going to share. It was supposed to be ready today. It's not. It won't be ready until probably next week or the week after. And so for that, I put this together. All right, and uh, I'm recording this, and then right after this, in 5 minutes, I've got to prepare for my coaching call with the clients that I help and coach and mentor. And then between 4 and 5, that coaching call will happen today. It usually happens on Thursday, but with the holidays, I pushed it up a day, and everybody was cool about that. And then basically between 5 and 8:30, I've got one of my business partners coming over, and he's going to have his wife and his kids, and we'll have my wife and kids, and we're just going to have kind of a fun dinner, if you will. Okay. Now, here's what some of the takeaways could be. Okay. Because I know that was a little bit of rambling, and I want to point out a couple of things that I think are important because I went through it fairly quick. Number one, my business and family are intertwined very closely. And so what do I mean by that? So 8:30 today when I worked out, my two girls came downstairs. My boy, he was busy, but they literally came down, they watched me work out, and then they wrote me this nice little letter here, and it just says, "Good morning, Dad. We hope you have a good day. Work hard and stay active." And then just love, Brooke, Blake, and Easton. And so, one of the things that I have found is, you know, telling my kids to do things versus showing them what I do. Uh, like they model what it is that I do, right? So I write them letters, not as often as I should, but they see it and then they model it. And so that has been really cool. It's one of the big benefits, I guess, that I enjoy about working from my house, because I get to work out when I want. And yeah, we'll just leave it at that. 11 a.m. That meeting, I was with my wife, right? So she was the designer, and it was just so cool that two of us were able to spend some time together. And I just let her run with it because, frankly, I would have just gotten in the way, and it was just fabulous to watch. So just so um, I don't know how to describe it. You know, the work that I'm doing, even though it can be stressful, when you're with people that you really enjoy being around, it's not like work. So I'm not going to get emotional. Just want to share that. 12:30 to 2. My mentor is my father-in-law, right? And so I'm having lunch with him. And so, like, what better way to just spend an afternoon or at least an hour and a half? And then obviously tonight for dinner at 5 o'clock, another business partner, my brother in law, sister. So we'll talk business, but we're also going to have fun. And so, like I said, I mean, even though it may seem like I work a lot, it's all under my control. I can turn it off, turn it on as much as or little as I want. Obviously, I'm in growth mode, so it's a lot right now. Takeaway number two, and this is something that will tie back to Nick Bear and some of the other people that have been following and watching. And that is as it relates to some of the habits and some of the ways that I have conducted myself, right? And so, for example, um, over the past 3 weeks, I've really doubled down on my fitness, really specifically my eating. Okay. And the reason for that is I was working out really hard and I was getting really nowhere, right? In terms of losing some weight that I wanted to because I wasn't in the shape that I should be. And I realized that, especially when you get into your 40s, at least for me, it's almost impossible to outwork a bad diet. And so, what I have what I committed to after downloading and listening, excuse me, to some of Nick Bear's videos is to document my nutrition. And I have had the whatever, I can't even remember the name of the app. It'll come to me. Anyways, I think it's like MyFitnessPal or something along those lines. And I've had it on my phone for the better part of a year or 2 years. And I've always had excuses as to why I would not track my diet. And uh, on Saturday is when I downloaded it. I just made the firm commitment that I'm going to do it. And I said, just for the next 3 days. Now I'm on day 4 because I want to see how I'm going. And I will tell you, just the awareness of how often I would think about snacking, and I'm like, oh, I got to record that. It was eye opening for me, anyways. And I'm not going to get into all the the psychological things in terms of like why we eat food and whatnot, at least for me. But what I have noticed is that by making those small little changes, those small little commitments, those habit stacking, if you will, just on food, on my workouts, on making an extra call, taking the meeting. Today I didn't have to stop at the property because, frankly, I was there 3 days ago, but I did, and it's amazing how all these little 1% choices on a daily basis either lead you kind of up or down. And I have to say, as it relates to my diet, my 1% daily choices, while none of them seemed big in the moment, they were leading me down the wrong path. And so just the awareness and the commitment to 1% daily, kind of like Kurt Warner, right? He didn't think anybody really paid attention to him in practice. But guess what? you know if you weren't showing up, and the guy that was maybe less talented but was working out harder, running the plays and super focused, he was doing those extra reps. Guess what? When it comes to game day, the coach has the confidence, if you will, to put the guy in that has been putting in the reps. So, anyways, a little bit of a ramble today. I don't know if this is valuable, whether or not you got something out of it. If it helps one person, hopefully then it's all worth it. So I wanted to share what I do, why I'm doing things, some of the realizations I've had, and maybe in the new year I'll go a little bit deeper. But just wanted to say, really appreciate you tuning in, listening. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I've got some big plans in 2022 to really expand and improve the podcast, as well as my own projects and developments, and be a little bit more of an open book while still being respectful to my partners, and then certainly helping more people in the coaching program. Actually, I just rolled out something new. You can go check it out on my website, and that's it. So I will likely be back next week. Hopefully, I will be able to share what it is that I was hoping to, and if not, then it might be another solo episode. So that's it. Bye for now. See you soon.